A firm relies heavily on dashboards and key risk indicators (KRIs) to manage enterprise risk. Recent losses occurred without any breach of reported limits. Critically evaluate how risk reporting and communication failures can undermine governance, integrating data quality, model risk, and professional responsibilities. 25 marks. Section 1. Interpretation and key points. Quick awareness check. The illusion of control. Green dashboards can hide red reality if the wrong things are being measured. Lagging versus leading. If KRIs only show past results, the crash has already happened before the alarm sounds. GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. Sophisticated dashboards are useless if the underlying data is stale or inaccurate. Professional skepticism. The actuary's duty is to explain what the dashboard cannot see, the known unknowns. Section 2. Logic breakdown. 1. The failure of indicators, KRIs, are proxies for risk, not the risk itself. If the link between the indicator and the actual risk driver breaks, e.g. due to a change in the market, the dashboard becomes a blind spot. 2. Data quality and governance. Risk reporting is only as good as the first line of defense's data. If data governance is weak, the dashboard might be reporting stable risk simply because the data hasn't been updated in months. 3. Model risk, threshold failure, limits and red, amber, green, RAG status are based on historical models. If the world moves into a new normal, e.g., high inflation, the old thresholds are irrelevant. This is model risk. The math is correct, but the context is wrong. 4. Professional responsibility, communication. Governance relies on the board being able to challenge management. If the actuary presents a perfect dashboard without explaining the uncertainty, they are failing their professional duty. Communication must include the limitations of the report. Section 3. High distinction model answer. The failure of a firm to detect losses despite stable KRIs suggests a fundamental breakdown in the risk reporting framework, where dashboards have provided an illusion of control rather than actionable insight. Governance is undermined when the board treats KRIs as absolute truths rather than simplified proxies for a complex reality. In this scenario, the limits likely failed because they were based on historical correlations that collapsed under recent stress, meaning the metrics remained green, while the firm's actual exposure was escalating in a blind spot, not covered by the dashboard's design. Data quality and governance are the primary drivers of this failure. If the firm's data architecture lacks line of sight or suffers from significant time lags, the KRIs become lagging indicators, reporting the smoke only after the fire has already caused financial damage. Furthermore, if the first line of defense lacks ownership of data integrity, the reporting process becomes a tick-box exercise. This feeds into model risk. The thresholds used to trigger escalation are often calibrated to normal market conditions. When the external environment shifts, these thresholds become model blind, failing to capture tail risk or shifting dependencies that occur during a crisis. From a governance perspective, the 3 lines of defense have clearly failed to communicate the limitations of the reporting suite. The second line, risk/actuarial, has a professional responsibility to ensure that communication with the board is not merely a display of data, but an interpretation of uncertainty. If an actuary presents a dashboard without highlighting the assumptions and exclusions behind the KRIs, they are providing false reassurance. Effective governance requires appropriate challenge, which is impossible if the reporting masks the volatility and model sensitivity of the underlying business. Ultimately, the actuarial control cycle must be used to recalibrate the reporting framework. The monitoring phase must look not only at the KRIs themselves, but at the effectiveness of the KRIs in predicting losses. Professional judgment dictates that risk communication should focus on narrative reporting and stress testing results alongside dashboards. By moving away from a compliance-only mindset toward a risk insight culture, the firm can ensure that its reporting suite serves as an early warning system rather than a historical record of failure.